Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to some places, people who are wherever you are. Thank you very much for joining to our webinar. So while we are waiting for rest of the people, in your chat window, you should find panelists and attendees. So if you can type in the location you're coming from, because that's the place where we'll be typing your Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free. And you also have a Q&A section. So you can add your questions there as well. For panelists and attendees, if you have any questions, you can drop them there too. Can you just type in the place where you're joining from, please? So we got a few people from Bangalore. Wow, we got a few people from Delhi, Cochin as well. And we have someone from Germany, London. Hi, Andrew. And we got from a few people from Prague. All right, welcome to everyone from to Leadership Tribe webinar. In this webinar, we'll be learning from Ming. She is an enterprise coach who works with us. And I had the pleasure of working with Ming knowing Ming for the last 20 years. And we worked on a few major projects. And Ming has been working with various financial organizations in England and mainly around the project PMO office, delivering various portfolios globally for financial organizations. And she has played various roles as a consultant, PMO, program manager, product manager, and sometimes it depends on the organization and the role, her titles differ. And we will be learning about her journey into the coaching space and what she has learned, her experiences, and some of the tips along the journey she has picked up. We will investigate and we will look at what are the things that has helped her to be where she is right now and the work she's doing for her clients. We will learn a little bit more around those areas and we can take it from there. So regarding Leadership Tribe, we've been working with various organizations globally. And when we are working with organizations, we have an abundance of knowledge from our coaches and consultants working with IT and non-IT organizations. So what we do is we take those learnings and we provide them back as part of our public training programs, and some of them in one-to-one coaching or even mentoring leaders globally. And we will love giving back to the community by building high performance teams as well as organizations who we support. So on that note, I want to hand over this time back to Ming and we can take it from there. Thank you very much. Ming, over to you.
Thank you very much, Krishna. Thank you. And welcome all. So as Krishna has introduced, my name is Ming Wei, and I'm working as Enterprise Agile Coach with Leadership Tribe. So today we are here to explore a little bit about coaching and the core coaching skills, as well as Agile coaching and what are the competencies we're looking at, for Agile coaches. And also we are going to explore a little bit into my journey, like transforming from a consultant to a coach. And we are going to take some questions at the end. So that's just a very quick introduction of what we can do today. And before we're going to kick off the session, there are a few things which I would like to bring to your attention. So first of all, this webinar is an opportunity for us to learn together. Okay, which means it's not only me talking, but also I would anticipate and I would encourage you all to actually, engage with the conversation, which we can ask some questions. And please do, use the chat window to reply. And please be aware that when you reply, please use both panelists as well as the attendees so that all people in this webinar will be able to see it. Okay. And with regards to the deck, don't worry about the deck because we are going to send you a copy after this webinar. And also we do provide a copy of the webinar recording as well, should you need to review or look at it or refer to someone else. Okay. And we will have a quick Q&A session towards the end. And if you do have any questions, please use the question and use the question panels and then just raise it there. My colleague and I will be monitoring it, and we will address it towards the end of this webinar. So we anticipate this webinar is going to take roughly about 45 to 60 minutes, depends on the engagement, depends on the flow of the webinar. And with that information, let's kick off today's webinar. So let me ask you a question. What does the word coach mean according to you? Can you please use the chat window and just quickly type in terms of what do you understand as the word coach? Okay. Okay, so someone said mentor, someone says guide. What else? Bring the team to the next level, okay? Help others achieve their objectives. Someone who helps others to grow to their fullest. Okay, beautiful, Andrew. Anything else? Something I'm good at and can help others. Okay, great, Gunjan. I'll be looking forward to hear from you then. Okay, and help people to improve themselves. Beautiful. Anything else? Unleash other potentials. Nice. All right. So we have got some, let's say, correct answers. Okay, we have got some answers which I personally probably not agree. All right, one-to-one attention to improvement. Someone who supports team and individuals in reaching goals, helping the team to do better at their levels, both on professional and personal lives. Beautiful. All right, thank you all very much. Okay, so if we look at the word coach, in the dictionary, we probably will get two sorts of like different explanation of what the coach means. One would be probably more around, like the railway carriage or like a bus, which is used for a longer journey, like something to do with traveling. Okay, that's number one. And number two is more to do, like someone has mentioned earlier, it's about like instructions. It's about providing that instruction in sports. It's about additional tuition or additional teaching, something along those levels. So let me ask a question. So you have heard definition 1 and definition 2. Which one do you think is more sort of like relevant to what we are going to discuss today, which is coaching? Is it 1 or is it 2? Can you quickly type in the chat window, please? 1 is regarding the bus for longer journey, railway carriage, and something to do with traveling. 2 is about instructions, it's about additional teaching, additional tuition, something like that. Okay? Nitesh said 2. All right, anything else? Okay. 1. Kay says 1. Okay, right. Anybody else? Isabel says 1. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else?
Looks like there's a big debate because there's a debate.
All right.
And
okay, Andrew says, well, 1, if we use it as metaphor for a journey. 1 and 2. Okay, now that's a bit cheeky, Kumaran. Okay, that's a bit cheeky. Okay, thank you very much. And Danish said 1 as well. And okay, just another note, guys, when you reply, please use both panelists and attendees so all people can see it. I do realize that some of you only posted to panelists, which means only me, Krishna, we can see it, but no one else can do that, okay? And Nagaraj says also 1. Beautiful, and welcome, Nagaraja. Okay, so it's not a trick question, okay? But at the same time, if we look at the relevance, number 1, in terms of, the journey, in terms of traveling, like from a place A to place B, is more relevant to coaching, like what we are talking about here today. Coaching is not about instructions. Coaching is definitely not about teaching. Okay, it's different. It's okay. Okay, so we are going to explore these ideas like towards like towards the end of this webinar. So that's fine. So first of all, right, regarding coaching, let's have a look on what coaching is defined. So Agile, my apologies. So ICF, which is the International Coaching Federation, it has actually defined coaching. Okay, and when we are referring to coaching here, please bear in mind that I'm referring to professional coaching. If I'm saying coaching, I always refer to professional coaching. Okay, just for the ease of language, I call it coaching, but please make the distinguishment between professional coaching and agile coaching, which we are going to talk about later. So when we're talking about coaching, what do we mean? And ICF has actually provided definition. It says coaching actually means that partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Okay, so here there are a couple of interesting points which we need to take. First of all, what we're saying is we are working with our client. So we are helping them, and we are helping them in this process, which will actually help them to maximize their potential. Okay, so being a coach, what we're saying is we believe in people. We believe people have the capability, have the competencies, and have all the resources they need to achieve whatever they want to do. Okay, to achieve the goal which they set for themselves. It's our role as the coach to make sure that in this journey, we actually support them, we accompany them, we support them, we be with them, and we challenge them, and we make sure that we hold them accountable to deliver what they set to deliver. So this is what we are here to do as professional coaches. And in some of my trainings, I use this metaphor of a car journey. Okay, I think someone has mentioned about this, like a journey. I think it's Andrew or someone who has mentioned about this. So what do I mean by that? Imagine yourself being a coach is in the passenger seat, and your coachee is in the driver's seat. So your coachee is in the driver's seat, and he or she decides that where he or she wants to go. Okay, first of all, they decide on destination. They also decide on how quickly or how slow they want to go there, as well as which path they're going to take to reach that destination. Okay, so they are in the driver's seat and they decide on all that sorts of like directions, speed, so on and so forth. And in this car journey, which the coach is with the coachee, you are going to experience some difficult times. You are going to have challenges. For example, you can have rainy days, you can have detours, you're going to have traffic jams, and that's okay. And you as a coach is being there with him or her, and then to support him or her on the journey and make sure that they reach destination. Okay, and that's what I tend to use like a metaphor to help people understand what actually coaching means. And in one of my training, sessions, for Agile coaching, like the ACC course, one attendee actually mentioned another very good metaphor according to me. So she said, so in that sense, like a coach is like a midwife. And I thought about it and I thought, yes, that's right. Because as a midwife, what you do is you are not really delivering a baby, but you are there to support the person to deliver the baby. Okay, so one way or the other, depends on how you felt about this. This is like a quick sort of definition on, what coaching actually is. And being a very successful coach, you need to at least acquire 3 core skills. So what are these core skills are? I have listed here about asking questions and about listening and about observation and providing feedback. So these are the key coaching skills that a coach need to have in his or her toolbox to be able to help someone to accomplish their journey to actually achieve their goal. So let me ask you a question. When I say ask questions, what type of questions do I mean here? Have a guess. There's no right or wrong answers. You are always right according to yourself. So questions, what types of questions do we need to ask? Can you please use the chat window and to provide your answers, please? Okay. So Kathy has said open-ended, and Paula says powerful, open questions and how, what, extra. Open-ended, powerful questions, leading and open-ended. Okay, interesting. And open questions, thoughtful, thought-provoking, exploratory, powerful, and open-ended. Okay, anything else? Thought-provoking, something that make coachee think through. Okay, thinking questions. All right, beautiful. Thank you. Okay, what questions? Anything coming to mind, relevant or not? Don't know. Okay, I got that. Thank you very much. All right. Okay, so all of the above, yes, very good answer, Taju. Thank you. Relevant questions. Thank you, Srija. All right. So when I refer to yeah, okay. Someone said make sure coaching knows his strengths. Thank you very much. So let me try to explain something here. So when we talk about the questions, yes, you guys are absolutely right. What we're looking at is we are trying to ask open-ended questions. Okay, we are trying to ask questions which will help the client or help our coachee to think on their feet, and which they will be able to generate more ideas or generate more resourcefulness, or actually helping them to identify these different options. And those sort of things are the things which we're looking at. And depends on, sometimes we call this powerful questions, and someone also mentioned, the powerful questions or the questions actually provoke people to think. Absolutely. Okay, any questions which will help people to think on their feet, any questions will actually, helping them to find their way forward, any questions that will actually help them to raise possibilities and find that resource which they need. And those are the questions which we need to use. And sometimes we call them powerful questions, open-ended questions, and it's just because those questions will actually provoke people to provide answers to answer questions such as someone just mentioned, that W questions like what, where, when, how many, and those sort of things. Because you are not looking at anything with a yes or no answer. You are trying to ask them to think, to process, and to talk through about their ideas and these kind of things. So yes, someone mentioned just now regarding leading question. Okay, I think I will reserve my opinion on that, because really you are not being judgmental as a coach, and you are not have a right answer in mind, and you are trying to elicit information from the coachee. Hence why I wouldn't say leading question is a good option, because if you're asking leading question, which means you already have some sort of answer in mind. Okay, so have a think about that. So yes, absolutely. So we ask questions, we provoke thinking, and we help the client to, have more choices and identify more choices. Great stuff. Okay, and asking question, what I would say is probably one of the most important skill, not only for coaches, but probably for any profession. Yeah, and we will talk a little bit more on that later. Okay, so the next one which we have here is regarding listening. All right. Let me ask a question. So for people who have already attended our courses, please do not provide the right answer, because I've already recognized some names. Okay, so has anyone heard of the phrase LOL? Okay, use your chat box, please. Have you heard of the phrase LOL? And if you have, what does that mean to you? LOL. Okay, laugh out loud. Okay, someone says no, fine, laugh out loud. All right. Okay, laugh out loud and laugh. Thank you very much. Okay, so from today on, you will have a completely new sort of like idea about what LOL means to you. Lots of laugh. That's nice. Thank you. All right, so there's another LOL, which means levels of listening. Okay, levels of listening. So let me explain to you what do I mean by that. First of all, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in the phases or in the situations where you are having a conversation with someone, or you are in a meeting where you're supposed to be listening, and yet your mind is somewhere else? You'll be thinking, oh, did I pay for that bill? Did I finish my report? Did I wash my bowl after breakfast this morning? Or something like that. Or should I ask a question like, have you ever been in these situations where your mind was somewhere else when people are actually talking? Yeah? Okay. So Sandeep says yes. Anybody else? Yeah, okay. So we do have those kind of distracted. Yes, absolutely. Yes. All right. Thank you. So we do have these scenarios where, we were supposed to be listening and our mind and our focus was somewhere else. So when this situation happens, thank you, Prabhu. So when this situation happens, who are you actually listening? Are you listening to the person who is speaking, or are you listening to yourself? Yes, absolutely. You are listening to yourself. So you are not giving attention to the person who is speaking. You are listening to your internal voice. And whereas you are listening to yourself, you are not really listening, because this is where you are losing track of the other person and you are listening to yourself, your inner voice. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. All right. Okay, so this is what we call the first level of listening. This is called level 1 listening, which is also called internal listening. Okay, so let me ask you another scenario. Have you been in situations where you were talking to someone and where you are so focused on the conversation that you lose track of the things happening next to you, and you completely focus on the person where you don't know what has happened and sorts of things around you? Have you been those sorts of like situations? Okay, thank you. Beautiful. Thank you very much. All right. So in my experience, I have been in these conversations where I was meeting a colleague of mine and we were talking about something. And we were in the cafeteria place. And when I went to sit down at the desk, at the table, I realized there's people next to me on my right. There's like a team people talking, and there's people to my left hand side. There's people talking, and after I sat down, I was talking to the person in front of me, and I completely ignored like what has happened. And after I finished the discussion, I stood up and I realized both sides of people have left. And whilst I have no collection of when they left, and table being cleaned and everything, I have no collection of when they left, how they left, or anything like that at all, because I was completely focused on that conversation. Okay, it's like as if I'm in a bubble. So this is what we call focused listening. All right. Some people have mentioned that sometimes they were so focused that they even missed their lunch schedule. Yes, absolutely. So this is what happens. Okay, so this is the next level, level 2 listening, which we call focused listening. Whereas you are so focused on the other person, you are listening to the words, you are completely focused on what the other person is trying to tell you. Okay, that's the second level of listening, focused listening. All right. And first level is called internal listening. Okay, second level is called focused listening. And we have also been in these situations where you're listening to someone that they were talking and they are getting a bit emotional, and where you can actually observe the way they talk and the ways of their facial expressions and the ways their body moves, and also how they breathe, how their face brushes, and you can actually not only listen to what they say, but also what their body language and what their tonality and then facial expression are telling you. Have you been those scenarios where you are actually trying to pick up everything which the person is saying, and as well as the person is not saying? Yeah. All right. So thank you very much. So this is what we call the third level of listening. We call this global listening. Okay, third level of global listening, which is, yes, absolutely, we are listening with compassion. Okay, absolutely. So just quickly recap, we talk about level 1 listening, which is internal listening. This is where you're actually listening to your internal voice. You are distracted from the person who is talking, but you're inside, like your mind or your brain is telling you. And second level is focused listening. So you're focused on the words which the other person is telling you. And the third level is global listening or environmental listening. So when we're talking about global listening or environmental listening, this is where we are picking up everything. Okay, the aura, the person, how they express themselves, what has been said and what hasn't been said. Thank you very much. So someone has summarized it here. Yes, absolutely. Internal listening, focused listening, and global listening. So now let me ask you a question. Which level of listening would you like to be at? Okay, it's not a trick question and it's not right or wrong. Which level of listening would you like to be at? Beautiful. Okay, so people has got 2 or 3 and okay, most of us three. Okay, beautiful. All right, so listening, some people think listening is easy. Okay, listening is not hearing. Hearing someone and listening to someone is completely different. Okay, and we need to make that distinguish. Next time when you're having a conversation or when you attend any classes or any of the, let's say, lectures or meetings, please be aware what level of listening would you using, because listening is a very important skill and you need to listen to understand other people, to understand where they're coming from. So it's very, very important. Okay. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree with you, Kay, because listening it's a skill, okay, which means we need to practice. And today we gave you the awareness of what levels of listenings are. And after this webinar, you need to go away and you need to practice and maybe start practice with your partners, okay? And then we'll get from there and it will get better. Okay, now let's move on. So the next one, the third one, which I've mentioned here, is regarding observing and sharing feedback. All right, when we talk about observing and sharing feedback, I have been in these scenarios, like people are being very aggressive, okay, when they sharing feedback, because what they're coming from is, oh, you have been doing this and this is bad and this is what you've done, and because of what you have done, this is the damage which you have done to me and this is damage you have done to the team. Have you sort of like observed that, you know, in your personal life or in your work environment, something like that, like, you know, people providing feedback and make people feel upset? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I've got someone typing to us saying yes, yes, yeah, okay, yeah. All right, thank you very much. According to me, observing, providing observation and sharing feedback is a very important skill. Okay, it's a very important skill. And one important thing which I need you guys to remember is when you're actually providing observation, please do not provide your judgment or your criticism or anything which you think is not right. Because when you're providing observations like that, people will get very, very defensive. Okay, they will get, yeah, absolutely. So they will feel like you're being implied and they will feel they've been challenged and they will become very defensive. And it's very bad for us to establish like the collaboration or communication afterwards. So what I would recommend you to do is providing observations which is based on the fact. Okay, so there's a difference of telling, for example, Kay, you have been late for 15 minutes, and to state the fact, which is, Kay, the meeting started at 9 and I realized you only joined at 15 minutes past 9. So that's two different things. One is a fact and one is with the emotion, saying that you've been late, and there's accusation and criticism as well. Okay, so that's what we mean about observing. And when we're talking about sharing feedbacks, we have got different feedback techniques. Okay, I think the one which I have heard a lot is about sandwich. Has anyone? Yes. All right. Okay. So someone has already said that sandwich feedback. All right. I'm not sure, to what extent you have to use that and to what extent you have got sort of like understanding of how that actually works. I think people are using it just because this is one of the most or commonly used ones. Sandwich, yes. Okay, sandwich feedback. However, there's one question I want to ask you, all right? So when we're talking about a sandwich or a burger, as what Kay has said here, all right? If in the sandwich or the burger, if the meat has gone bad, or if, let's say, the bread is gone bad, do you think this is still a good sandwich? Yes or no? If the meat or the bread has gone bad, do you think that it's okay? That's right. Okay. So I think people would agree with me saying that we don't think if the meat or the bread has gone bad, the sandwich will be a nice sandwich to enjoy or to have. Okay, you might just throw it away straight, like just out of the window straight away. And when we're providing feedback using the sandwich, it's the same thing. Okay, it's exactly the same thing. When you're saying that to someone, saying that, oh, you have done very well in last quarter. However, as soon as someone heard this word, however, they will drop to the bottom. Okay, and it doesn't matter what you said before, what you said after, the meat is bad, and they will not take this as a very good sandwich feedback. So there are different techniques and there are different methods which we can do, to provide effective feedback. One of the things which I would say is, try to start with observations and which will based on the fact, as I've mentioned earlier. For example, okay, the meeting start at 9 and you arrived at 9:15. So this is the fact, and this is a neutral fact which we would both agree on. There's no criticism, there's no emotion, there's no negativity, nothing in it. It's the fact. Based on the observation, on the neutral fact, you can provide the person feedback on your feelings, okay, and how do I felt about you being late, okay? And then what you do is you need to clarify your need, okay? You need, and here you're trying to specify your emotions, you're trying to specify your need, and what we're doing here is we are trying to connect with people at a deeper level. Okay, at a deeper level. So as long as you can build that connection with people, you are connected, and then you'll be able to make a firm request saying that, okay, next time would you might arrive on time? And then the person will actually take that. So they understand like what they have done, what's the impact on you, on the team, and because you're able to connect, and then this is where they are able to accept your opinion. So when you make this confirmation, when you make this request saying that this is what I need to do, and then they will be able to take this on board. And from there, they have a choice to change their behavior for the next time. Okay. And there are different techniques which you can look at as well. There's something called feed forward, and there's something which you can use like the NVC model, for example, nonviolent communication model, which I just sort of like touched upon on that, and then have a look on those things. And then ultimately what we're trying to do is we are trying to communicate our ideas in a non-violent way, okay? And we're trying to bring people on board with our ideas and make a change going forward. So this is where we need to be very careful with the techniques and with the way how we approach others, okay? Right, so these are, in general, very quickly about the core coaching skills. And whereas I was giving this, introduction about professional coaching, like the coaching skills, which I've mentioned here, sometimes I got asked a question, okay, a lot, which is about, from agile coaches, from scrum masters, product owners, saying that, but we cannot just ask questions, right? Because, sometimes the client will demand from us, on doing different things. And that's absolutely right. Okay, what we have discussed so far is from the professional coaching stance in terms of what do you do? Okay, coaching, and how do you coach? You listen, you ask questions, you provide feedback, and you enable your client or your coachee to reach their goal. This is only one of the key competencies for an agile coach. And as you can see here on my slide, there are different competencies Agile coaches need to adopt because you are dancing the dance with your client. Whereas you're dancing the dance, you need to change your movement, you need to change your steps to actually accommodate your client. You need to work with them. You need to actually accommodate what they need from you. So apart from coaching, there are different sorts of competencies which we need to look at. Okay. Coaching, we talk about it, and we talk about it's about partnering with people in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspire them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Next one I've mentioned here is about facilitating. Okay, so when we're talking about facilitating, what it means is a facilitator need to have a neutral stance. Okay, where he or she is not there to say you're right or wrong, or I'm taking the stand of team A or team B. They are being very neutral as facilitators, and they actually help the group through a particular process, which will help them to achieve a agreed upon outcome. Okay, this can be a solution, it can be a decision making, and what they were doing is they are utilizing their different skills, different tools, and they're holding the team to it. Yeah, so what they're doing is they're holding the process. They are responsible only for the process. And what they're doing is they're using their own set of skills, tools, and make sure that everyone is engaged, everyone is empowered to speak up, every voice is being heard. And what they're doing is make sure the team participate, work together to achieve an agreed on outcome. Okay, this is what facilitators do. All right. As you can probably have the sense, when we're looking at coaching and when we're looking at facilitating, both of these two competencies are going to do with the process. Yeah, which means as a facilitator, as a coach, you probably don't need to know the particular context. What you're doing is you are holding the process. Okay, this is very, very important. You are only responsible for the process, but you are not responsible for the content. The people you coach or the group of people who you facilitate, they are responsible for the content, not you. Okay, this is very important. All right, we have looked at coaching, we have looked at facilitating. Now, let's have a look on teaching. When we say teaching, teaching is about imparting your knowledge, your skills, and your particular perspective to like a different individual or to a different group. And this is where you are imparting this information to the others in the hope that this information or this knowledge which you are passing on would actually help them to achieve some value. Okay, this is why we teach them. Depends on the team maturity. Sometimes some teams are very new. Okay, they don't have a lot of experience in terms of running, for example, a particular workshop. They don't have any experiences in even understanding, for example, the value of Agile. And this is where you working as an Agile coach, you need to make sure that you leverage on your skills, knowledge, perspectives, and you help them, you passing this information to them. So you uplift their understanding so that we can be talking on the same page. And this is what we do when we teach someone. So this is a transfer, or this is like a transfer of knowledge. Okay, we're passing the information on. All right, next one is about mentoring. So mentoring is about sharing knowledge, sharing the skills and perspectives in order to foster personal and professional growth of someone else. So when we're talking about the mentoring, a mentor come in, and then a mentor will be able to ask you questions, for example, like, okay, in terms of this particular problem you have, what have you done so far? What have you tried so far? And among those choices, like which one have you tested? And then those sort of things. So they will be asking questions. And after they understand where you are standing and what you've tried and so on and so forth, they will be able to provide their own opinion. Okay, so they're sharing their own knowledge and skills and perspectives, so that they help you, to have different perspectives, and they help you to grow personally and professionally. And from there, this is where a mentee need to make a decision or to make a call in terms of, okay, I've heard all your options, I've heard all your choices, this is what I'm going to do. And a mentor and a coach will be similar in the sense that they'll be asking questions, okay, but different in the sense that a mentor will be able to provide options, but the coach does not. Absolutely not. Okay, professional coach, absolutely not. And a mentor is someone who provides options, but the action to actually execute something lays with the mentee. And they will be checking, on a regular basis in terms of, okay, what have you done further to our conversation, last time, and where we are now, and what else have we, tried, and what else we can do, so on and so forth. So on the teaching and the mentoring bit, as you can see, we are talking about knowledge, specific knowledge, skills, and opinions, so on and so forth. So teaching and mentoring are based on content, but it's not as such to do with the process. Okay, so it's different. Coaching, facilitating is more on the process. Teaching and mentoring is more on the content. So these are all the competencies which we need to use as agile coaches to help our teams to progress. Okay, all right, so let's move on. When we're helping our team to achieve high performance, I have listed a few things here, okay, which I think which has helped me, and I'm going to demonstrate this with the example, a client who I'm actually working with right now. So I'm working with a kindergarten group, okay, locally. And this kindergarten group, they have got a big challenge because of COVID, they have been closed for 9 months. Okay, so they have reopened gradually, like their chains, and they are now going through a transformation, and so I am there to help them. And whereas working with them, and there are a few things, and as well as working with my previous client, I have realized to help our teams to achieve high performance, there are a few things which we need to do. Okay, first of all, I've listed here, very important, is establish the common purpose. The common purpose, also known as the North Star. So this is where we need to make sure that we understand why we exist. Okay, why we exist as an organization, why we exist as a team. And for the time being, right, the business is going through a challenge because they've been closed for 9 months and they don't have enough cash flow. So one of the business priority is to make sure that they boost the enrollment of the kids. Okay, they recruit more kids to the kindergartens. And this is where we actually help them to define what the organization vision is, and from there, what the team vision is. Okay, and depends on the business priority, what we need to do as a team, and what are the personal goals which they need to do. And so that it's all lined up, which means this is going to provide them a very clear picture of the focus, at least in the next 6 months. Yeah, so this is what we've done. And also understand what does success looks like, and then how do we measure it. So we have got some figures, from the numbers of people, from the numbers of the financials, and this is where we have made a very, very clear in terms of how do we define success, and then what are the OKRs, objective and key results, which we're going to use to measure them. So this is what I have listed here as the first bullet point, which means it's very important. And second point up here is about empower teams. So what we need to do is, as leaders, as agile coaches, we need to make sure, right, we create a safe environment for the teams. Okay, so this can be done via different routes, but the reason for it is make sure that people have the space that they can feel safe and they can be themselves. They can actually be creative and maximize their value in the organization. To do that, we have made a few efforts. We have actually flattened the organizational structure. Previously, I think there are like 5 different levels, from the owner of the company, the CEO, headmaster, teachers, and support teams, and we are trying to flatten it. And which means, people have got the channel. If they want to highlight something, they don't need to go through different levels and say, now, okay, I'm reporting to my manager reporting to her manager or his manager, and we're actually making a communication flat. Okay, so you can report something directly if you felt that the business is going to drive some value out for it. And we instead, okay, and part of the effort is to make sure that, you know, people can work as a team and they can be self-organizing. Whatever the ideas which you have got, how can we deal with it? How can we try and test it? Which is related to a different point here, which we'll talk about that in more detail later. And we are going to help them, you know, to enable them to make their own decisions and within the threshold which we give them, to test different ideas, to help the business to make more money and to drive more value. Okay, and one of the key things is about having this open and transparent communication, where I think one of the important thing which I've realized is, you know, like treating people as human beings. It's easier said than done. Okay, it's easier said than done. I've heard a consultant in the company talking about firing someone to make someone redundant because they are not operating properly, because they are not adding enough value. However, what I have observed is those people, exactly the same people the consultant was talking about, have been working in organization for like 10 years. Okay, so basically she has got knowledge in terms of how the business operate, and she has climbed up from, you know, someone who's a support role and all the way up to a vice president of the company. And this is where, instead of saying that he or she is not competent, we need to treat them like human beings, understand what are their performance like and why, what are the reasons that they're underperforming, and what we can do as leaders and as coaches to help them to achieve their maximum value. And this involves, you know, we need to have this channel to let them talk out. What do they think? What is stopping them? What are the blockers they are facing? So that we can establish the trust and help them to remove those blockers. Okay, and communication is important, that we need to make sure that not only within the teams, but also we need to align with the leadership teams as well. And when I approached my client, I came to find out that every week they have got a leadership meeting, okay, for 3 hours on a Tuesday. And when I asked them, saying that, do you have any other meeting or one-to-one, you know, with the manager or, you know, between the management teams? And the answer is no. So this is where we have made some changes. And by making these changes, teams are able to catch up frequently, you know, between different leaders, and also between the leadership team and the team. So this is where we're able to create that channel to help people out. All right. I've listed out a few other things here on the right-hand side, which I'm just going to very briefly walk you through it. One is regarding trust your team. Okay, this is where I think is very important, because if the team doesn't know what our expectations are, we cannot blame them for not meeting them. And in my client, in this case, I have observed the same thing. Okay, people are doing what they're doing or what they used to do because they don't know what the expectations are. So we need to clarify, what are the expectations? What do we need from them? And what value we need to see them deliver, and make sure we hold them responsible, okay, to deliver those and help them to deliver those. During this process, we need to provide support. We need to give them the training, and especially for the management teams, they need to have these coaching skills. They need to ask questions. They need to know what is going on with their team. And however, in this client who I'm working with, they are very hierarchical, and they are like, I'm telling you and you go away and do it. So this is something which we have helped them to implement, which has got a huge influence on changing their culture. Okay, and for what Agile has promoted is that we need to take risk, and when you test, we need to make sure we learn continuously. And remember, this is a journey. Achieving high performance is a journey. There's no one state saying that, yes, we are here. No, there's always room to improve. There's always something better that we can do. So make sure that we test our approaches, we learn from our mistakes, and we develop those things, and we improve from those. Okay. And last point is regarding the culture. So I've mentioned here on Ubuntu culture. Ubuntu culture basically is talking about my humanity lies in yours, which means I am because of you are. So this is where we have tried to help the company to include everyone, okay, everyone's opinion, from the leadership team to the management team to everyone who works in the organization, teachers and everyone. And we appreciate the ideas which they came up, and we, you know, give them We respect what they talk about, and sometimes when it allows, we give small project to them so they can take the ownership and they can work with each other to actually help the team to maximize the value delivery. So this is what we're trying to do to help the team to achieve high performance. Okay, and from my end, on my journey, I have been a consultant for the last 10-20 years, and I've been working, as Krishna has introduced, as a change consultant. I work in the PMO office. I worked in the Center of Excellence. So, this is where I use my knowledge, my subject matter expertise to provide options and to sort of like focus on the problem to help the businesses resolve particular challenges. And this is what I used to do as a consultant. And from a certain point, I think intrigued by a question which my coach has asked me. He asked me, what would you like to do in 10 years time? And this actually helped me to think, saying that, do I always want to be a consultant, working in the same or similar field, which I've been doing for the last 10-20 years, or what do you want to do? And from there, I actually had a think, saying that, okay, my purpose is the same. I want to help people. I want to help businesses, and I want to help them to help themselves. So what can I do? And this is where, I came to understand coaching. I did my qualification on coach, and from understand what I know, being the subject matter expertise, I changed to trying to being a sounding board and then get my coaches or get my client to tell me to actually leverage on their wisdom in terms of what do they know. Because, for example, for this kindergarten client, I actually know nothing about what they do. Okay, I don't know how they make a profit, and I don't know how they do certain things, what the process is like, how people interact with each other. I know nothing. But I'm actually glad I took that case on board, because I learned so much by simply applying the skills which I've introduced to you all, by listening, by asking questions, by observing and providing feedbacks. So I'm leveraging on the wisdom of people. I'm helping them. I'm helping them to build their own capacity and improve their effectiveness, to explore what the problem is, and then to arrive at their own decisions. Because as what I've told them, right, I'm not expert in this field. I want to hear from you. Tell me, what do you think with your experience? Tell me what is practical, which we can implement straight away, or what we can test our approaches. These are the interactions which I begin to use of being a coach. All right. Lastly, I want to give you some of my sort of experience or my learning, like hints of that journey of transforming from a consultant to a coach. First of all, I would like to remind you all that it's about a mindset change. Okay, mindset is nothing but a set of attitude, or is a way how we think about things. So when we talk about fixed mindset, we think that our ability is innate. I have people come to me saying that I'm a consultant. I don't think, I'm fit for a coach. I'm fit to be a coach. And this is what we talk about being a fixed mindset, because any skill, any competencies can be learned, okay, can be adopted. This is where you need to adopt a growth mindset, where we do believe that everything, ability, knowledge can be learned. And with practice, we can be whoever we want to be. Okay, may it be a coach or may it be some other professions. And this is where I need to highlight at the very beginning, saying that a growth mindset, that we can be a coach, okay, as long as this is what you really want to be. And as I've touched upon earlier as well, we have got saying that if you give someone a fish, you feed them for a day. If you teach someone how to fish, you'll feed them for a lifetime. And being a coach, and it's different from being a consultant, because being a consultant, you are telling people what to do. You give them options, recommendations, so you're feeding them a fish. Okay, but being a coach, you have a choice. You can tell them this is the way how you ask the questions. This is the way how you find out the cause of the problem, or how you find out solutions. So this is a mindset change from, like give someone a fish to teach someone how to fish. And I think we need to have a very clear understanding on that as well. Okay. And lastly, on this point is everything starts from self-awareness. From self-awareness, you understanding yourself, understand that, like what your values are, and, what you're good at, what are your potentials, what are your inferences, and this is how you're going to build on that, and how you're going to manage yourself to make changes, and how you're going to help like your people, how you're going to help your organization, and how you're going to make sure that you understand people and work with people better. So it's all start from self-awareness. Okay, as I've mentioned earlier, use powerful questions and get comfortable with it, because once you have the mindset change, you will know, right? Okay, it's not about me anymore as a consultant, it's about my client. So ask questions, elicit the information, provoke thinking, and then trying to get them committed to actions. This is where you make the changes and use these powerful questions as a tool to help you to make that transition, and also to get used to it, to always be curious, to be authentic and empathetic about your coachee, because you are there to help them. Okay, if you don't have the intention to help, please don't be a coach. This is my advice. Okay, so use powerful questions and start practicing. My colleague will paste a link in the chat window. We have some documents, introducing powerful questions. If you are interested to know more, please feel free to download. And also you can follow us on LinkedIn, because we do provide this information for free download on that as well. All right, so next point is about practice makes perfect. And this is where we use opportunities to practice and learn. And I don't believe there's such a thing as failure, but lessons learned. Okay, so use every opportunity which you think you haven't done so well, and make sure you make use of that and practice, because practice makes perfect. If you ever have a doubt if I'm helping people as a coach, please don't, because I can answer you right now saying that yes, you are helping people. Okay, by asking questions, helping them to explore their own journey, you are helping them. And please remember, as we've talked about, this is a journey. This is not a state. So trying to be open and to learn more, to know more, and carrying on your self-improvement journey. This leads us to my final point regarding creating your own winning formula. So we talk about Shuhari, which is nothing but before, this is a learning journey. So you, at the beginning of the journey, you learn from someone and you do exactly what is being told. And as you move on, and you'll be able to break the rules. And as you become a master, you'll be able to create your own rules. So know what works for you, okay? And then be open to new learnings. I know for a fact, I'm learning coaching because I want to know coaching skills, but I don't want to be a professional coach. I want to be an agile coach, which means I can leverage on different skills and to help people. So this is what I have learned from my journey, and I've listed out here in hope that it can help you to create more value in your own journey and in the journey of helping with your organization. All right, I am slightly overrun. I do realize that. So Krishna, I think we can skip the question. If you do have any questions, please do contact us, and we will be able to, answer your questions offline.